Awesome. So it was cool meeting you doing Lyft. And right now you study at the University of Central Florida.
Yes, I am a PhD student. I'm in my third year right now. I'm from India,
I can
so
tell.
yeah, from my
What
name.
part?
Wait, what were you saying?
What part of India are you from?
Oh, I'm from West Bengal. So it's we speak Bengali there. A lot of culture, um,
Wow.
a lot of music, a lot of poems. Um, but I studied in India and I moved to the US 2019 fall. So my experience here has mainly been for education to study. So I'm doing my PhD here, specifically in augmented and virtual reality and how we use it, and how will we use it in the future, how it affects each other's perceptions, just a whole new tool of communication. So yeah, I study AR, VR.
Yeah, that's what I was really interested in. Is like you. So like what like specifically that you study with like augmented and virtual reality?
Yeah, that's a good question. So augmented and virtual reality is not only a computer science subject, it's got a lot of components to it. So there's the hardware aspect of it, for instance, where you have to build the product, what plastic should be used, what electronic components would be needed. So there's the electrical side of it, there's a mechanical side of it, there's a computer side of it. And there's a psychology aspect to it. Like, for instance,
Yes.
um, like a lot of research has been done in the past where we try to understand each other's behaviors, like through email, through social media, face to face. So different modes of communication impacts the way we behave as well. So that's like a part of the psychology involved. So I mainly focus in the computer science and the psychology part, especially in communication. Um, I hope that answered your question.
No, that did. That's really interesting. So like, how's this like? How do you feel like this will affect human psychology later on? And, like, say like a few years down the line, as virtual reality evolves, will we kind of integrate our like physiology and ideals with these virtual characters, so to speak?
Um, as my short answer is yes. Um,
Right.
but my longer answer would be yes, but I don't know how it's going to change. There are like so many like variables involved. It's like some some okay, let's step back a bit. And um when the internet was new, like 30 years ago or so, um it started off communication through the internet started off by sending emergency signals like from one area to the other. So it started off with essentially sending SOS or red alert codes, and then people slowly realized that we don't have to subject ourselves to only this much information. We can start talking casually, we can start talking socially, and that's when social media was born. So it started off with a necessity where we needed communication over long distance. And then the social component came into play and everybody started using it. So right now, the necessity for augmented and virtual reality to become a current technology is is a big question mark for me. I don't see the necessity right now. Maybe it helps like communicating better, but what does that even mean? What do you mean by how do you communicate better? Do we communicate better face to face? Do we communicate better via text messages? I don't know. So then I don't see the necessity of AR VR right now. Maybe in the future I'll learn some more and understand its value. But since I don't know it and there are other things I don't know how it's going to change the way we communicate. But
Yeah,
it will.
so right now you're
Yeah.
studying the way it'll like how we react towards towards virtual reality. Like what's the thing that you're not supposed to like talk about like with it? That sentence that you just told me.
Yeah. So some interesting, like a dimension about what I study is the psychology aspect, and my current work. I mean, not my current work, like I've been working on this for over 6, 7 months now, is like understanding how a person looks, for instance, and he looks and he sounds in virtual reality, for instance. And okay, here's the premise.
Yes.
Virtual worlds, virtual environments, everything is digital. So we can literally change anything you want because essentially they're ones and zeros at the end of the day. So we can change the way we look. We can sound like Shrek, for instance, but look like a unicorn. Um, and the we can let our imagination go wild, essentially, which we are capable to do in VR, but not in real life. We are stuck with the same facial features. We have 2 hands, 2 arms, and we have what we have. But in VR, we can be really abstract with our decisions, the way we look, our design. So what I wanted to know, or what I asked myself like a couple of months ago, was if I go to a important meeting, for instance, and it's in VR, if I look like a cartoon, would people take me seriously? And I asked myself, I wouldn't take myself seriously. So, so that's
Okay.
where a series of more like a series of questions came up to me. It's like, how would we perceive another person if they're looking in a particular way? How do I categorize the different ways or the styles we look like? And so currently what I'm working with, and I can't go too much in details
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
is like avatar styles, avatar behaviors, how avatars sound, and how they affect
Yeah.
our perceptions.
Yeah, you don't have to go into
Yeah,
detail with
but
it. So
that's what I can talk about.
but that sentence is like you just mentioned is okay that you it's okay that you just told me that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of other scientists also trying to
Right.
understand this. So um
So
so
how
yeah.
far are we from like looking like what you said, looking like a unicorn at a meeting? Like how far are we from doing that in a virtual reality world?
Um I think we can do it right now. It's just not the easiest. It's just not like very
It's not
streamlined.
yeah. Yeah, it's not popular
Um
right now yet.
yeah, it's not super popular, but it's still possible. So they're like, so all you need is a VR headset. Like VR headsets originally were really bulky and expensive, but nowadays it's becoming smaller. It's getting lighter and it's easy to use, but it's still not there yet where everybody would have one. So like for instance, I have the Oculus Quest 2. It's about 299. Um, and I use it to talk to a few friends who are like back in India, and we just hang out. And there's
Wow.
some social VR applications, like VR chat. The Facebook has one. It's called Facebook Horizons. But I usually use VR chat more. And we essentially create like rooms, like community rooms, and we just have like a table in between. We play cards sometimes in VR. Um, we just talk and we can see each other. Sometimes I show up as a skeleton, like
Cool.
just randomly. But yeah, it's possible. People do it. There's like a pretty large community right now, but it's still not there yet. If you understand what I mean.
Do you have any of these VR headsets?
Right now,
Yeah.
yeah, I can bring it. Give me a
Yeah,
second.
show me. Okay, show everyone. He's bringing out the VR headsets right now. So I'm looking forward to this. I remember like the old 90s VR headset that was just an 8-bit video game. Here it is. Okay.
So this is the Oculus Quest 2. So your your face essentially
Yeah.
goes here, your two eyes, and you can see the shiny parts. So these are
Okay,
the
so it's sort of like a white looks like a white eye mask, but
yeah,
bulky,
essentially.
and
Yeah.
then it's got like two scopes on the other side of the white part. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like goggles. This is how
Yeah.
you wear it. This is how you wear it. And
Yeah. So you wear like goggles. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Right on. And what's that thing called?
Like this.
Yeah. You could just
This is the
buy,
VR headset.
yeah, you could just buy those, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the
Oh my
model.
goodness.
This is
Yeah, I'm so behind. I haven't like fucked with VR at all.
yeah. It's called Oculus Quest 2, and you have
Yeah.
these two controllers with it.
Yeah, I've seen people
So
play with those. I think my sister has one. I don't know. Like I
um
don't pay attention to that stuff.
yeah, it changes very quickly.
Yeah. So like in the next, like it's like the PlayStation and the Nintendo, eventually they're just gonna like get better like within like the next couple years. And that's the same thing with the VR, right?
That's actually very interesting because I think we are like the idea of VR started off in games. Like, how can we make video games more immersive? And so then probably they ask themselves, why don't we just bring the TV screen really close to your eyes? And that's what this is essentially, like this two screens over here. And with the help of like really smart coding and optimizations, it just makes you feel like you have the 360 view of this world. And when you move around, you actually move around in the world as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what
Is that
makes it
bad for
really
your
immersive.
eyes? Would it be bad for your eyes for that like for the Blu-rays, the
Um,
Blu-rays be like right up against your eyes?
You are correct. I've been using this for like 4 years now. Not the specific one, but I've been in VR for like 4 years now.
Yeah.
And I have not used it for more than 2 hours in a stretch because my eyes get really dry. It gets, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, you come out and you look like you haven't slept for a few days. You just like, you take out the headset.
Yeah, I look like a zombie usually.
Wow, you played a
Um,
zombie to go to a meeting with your friends and you come out a zombie.
oh,
Have
that's
you
so
have you
meta.
have you seen that episode? Are you familiar with Morocco's Modern Life?
Sorry, no. What is that?
No, that's a 90s cartoon. So cartoons were a
Okay.
little bit more screwed up in the 90s than they were today. So like there was this episode, right? So there's like this like cow, this cartoon cow character. And I guess like the cow like set like he had like a giant TV and he sat up right against the TV. I was watching this when I was like 6 years old. And the cow just like was like staring at the TV. Then like the TV just like suction cupped his eyeballs and like it like pulled his brains out, like sucked his brains out. And I looked to my mom and she said, "That will happen to you if you stand too close to the TV." And I was like so freaked out. I was like, "Oh my goodness, I better not like sit so close to the TV now." Like, and I never did it again. But I found that
I
like
mean, that's
hilarious.
essentially VR.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, because people even thought like back then, that can't be good for your eyes, just like
Mhm.
sitting that close to like the what do you call it, the Blu-rays or
It's so
whatever.
many things. I don't know too much, but there's also another fascinating aspect to this is that it's called simulator sickness. Do you know what that is?
No, no, no.
So it's like the closest example I can give you is if for just imagine you're in zero gravity
Okay.
and then after a while you'll get nauseous and you just get sick because you're not used to the environment, the physics around you isn't working right, so your brain's usually tuned in to what's normal, so when something abnormal happens you get sick.
Yeah.
So that's called simulator sickness. We have a lot of simulator sickness in VR since the world is moving based on how you're moving, um, and your hands move.
Oh,
with your controllers.
is it similar to motion sickness?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, so I got this when I went to Disney Quest when I was like, are you familiar with Disney Quest?
No.
So it was, I don't know what it's called now. I think like back in 2001 or something like that, it's called Disney Quest. And over here in Orlando, I went to like the little arcade. There's like a giant arcade, and there's like a couple of ones that were actually virtual reality.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So they had like really cool like virtual reality stuff. Like one of them's Aladdin, and you get to ride a magic carpet, which was really trippy. And there was like one where you had like some sort of lightsaber that was really awesome. The one with the magic carpet, I remember after getting off of it, I was motion sickness. I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on?
Yeah. Okay, nobody really knows why. It's an open research question. But if I had to explain it to someone, I would say that it fucks with your mind, essentially, because your brain is used to certain things happening in a particular way. So imagine you're looking with, I don't remember, but humans have a 110 field of view, 110 degrees. I don't know. But imagine you're used to seeing this much of vision with real things in front of you, and you're substituting that with digital information instead. So you're looking at cartoons, animations, but within the same field of vision. So because of that shift in perception, like complete visual perception, your brain does not feel very well. I don't know, but that's probably one of the reasons why we get sick in VR. But it's a very interesting question, and I would love to figure out a way to find that out. The smarter individuals doing that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you probably you feel like we're not too far at all to like going into like advancing more VR stuff and getting rid of like go on.
I'm on the edge with that question because I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about how Facebook's pushing the metaverse, and I feel that's complete BS, or that's like a bunch of crap. One reason is, I mean, this is a question to you. What do you think is the metaverse?
I have no idea. I'm completely ignorant. I'm a blank slate right now. So
okay, so the metaverse is essentially it's just the new way to communicate. That's the way I see it.
okay.
So like before, let's do the internet example again. So before the internet was there, the only way we could communicate was face to face, like we had to come to each other and talk to each other physically. Or this other way was through letters. So we physically wrote letters and then sent it to a post box, and then they did the magic. So internet allowed us, like internet and social media, it broke up, it gave us a new way to talk, essentially, to humans, to other humans. And so if you would call that the internet revolution, for instance, if VR comes into play, AR and VR, then that would be like the next revolution for communication. So that's what the metaverse is. It's just the new way to talk to people, the new way to meet people, the new way to communicate, essentially.
Okay. And that's a big part of like that's a big part of virtual reality. I'm actually looking forward to a business meeting in virtual reality. That sounds really cool. And you've done it. You said you've done it before, like the virtual meeting?
Yeah, we've done it. It's super glitchy, and it's okay, but I wouldn't do something really important in VR. I would rather still meet face to face.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And eventually this stuff will get kind of sketchy, right? There'd be like people trying to hack in and like all that stuff.
Yeah, so this is why I'm on the edge with the whole metaverse thing and how Facebook is pushing it. First of all, Facebook should not be like the leader of this revolution, uh, because they have their own um, issues with like the privacy rights, how they monetize their business. They're in themselves super sketchy. So I
Right.
personally just don't like the idea that Facebook is leading this revolution.
Yeah.
Um, but I have no answer who I would rather choose also. So
Yeah, I gotta jump
um,
off and go to Discord or something.
maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And also I mean, the science is incomplete right now about AR and VR and how it, how it, like for like how what I'm studying is how it affects communication, how people speak. There's way too many questions right there to actually commercialize it and let people use without understanding the consequences that it may have. Um, one one example is how, I mean, I was actually watching this video sometime like earlier today, and like the I forgot the video's name, but essentially they talked about how Facebook fueled the um, January 6th riots at at the government, like Trump supporters coming in and just terrorizing the place.
Right.
Um, Facebook actually knew about this before it was going to happen, but they still didn't do anything because they Facebook was in turn gaining popularity and they were getting higher revenues. They knew this act of terrorism was going to happen, but they still didn't do anything about it because they're a capitalist company.
Well,
Um,
they were able to monetize and because people in the future probably use that for political advertising,
yeah,
stuff
that's
like
just
that.
one
Okay.
example. Like so many more things can happen. Like a year or so ago, I was a part of a discussion panel with the UNICEF Counter of Terrorism office, and they said some facts that blew my mind. Essentially, they said there was this one researcher who looks into social media and terrorism, and like terrorist groups like Al Qaeda, um, and stuff, and Taliban, they actually use social media to recruit others, kids. And they use video games to teach them how to shoot before actually holding a gun, for instance. So, like we play Warzone, Modern Warfare on the PS4, on PC. They use that as a training tool, which is which kind of blew my mind. And I mean, but I couldn't think of a solution either. Like we can't just stop making action video games or watching action movies, for instance. Like I don't want to stop watching Tom Cruise. I don't want to stop watching
Right.
these guys.
You know, I feel like there is a solution. Like, are you familiar with domain name extensions?
Mhm.
So domain name extensions, like there's a .com, I believe India is .in, and there's a .net. You know, at the end of like you type in a website and it's .com or .net or something like that. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a .us, and there's one specifically for countries that you cannot access outside of that
A
region.
region. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so if we actually had that, where like things as like a .us, where other countries can't access this, like sort of like it's specifically only say we use that for virtual reality,
Mm-hmm.
like people outside of that can't access that part of that
Piece
virtual
of
world.
information.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. But that restricts, like, for instance, like the idea of globalization, for instance, like it restricts free flowing information.
Right.
Um, I
That's
mean, there are arguments. There are arguments,
yeah.
but
That's
but uh,
yeah. Like what if we had like that we have like a .us for the RV light. I'm not VR. You have a .us for VR, but you also have other options like a .com. You go to like a more global server. You know, we have that option for the internet. Well, why not
Mhm.
have it for uh virtual reality and servers, you know?
Yeah, but my point is more about like like even with before VR, there has been consequences to like social media, for instance, um, emailing anonymously. They have
Okay,
consequences which we don't really have solutions for. We know the problem, there is a problem, and we're still not doing anything about it. That's what concerns me. Like we know, um, I'm just using Facebook a lot, but there are other companies also.
right. Yeah,
Like they
it's
do
just
a
an
mistake.
example. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just using it because it's like the most easy example to use.
right.
Uh, I mean that any company, they do a mistake, they go to court, they use their like high spending lawyers and they get away with it, or they just get away with very little. And but the problem still remains. There's no resolution to it. So and there's been problems with other modes of communication, which is not VR yet. And I feel VR is going to open this whole domain of other like wonderful opportunities, but also a lot of issues which we are not considering. So that's where the science is missing
Right.
right now. Like not just science of ethics, but even the technology in itself. It could have physical issues, like for instance, like the eyes thing you talked about, like eye strain. Eye strain could be a problem in the future. Like kids use it like for several hours and their eyes get spoiled. Who is to
Yeah.
blame? It's no, we can't blame anyone then. It's the scientists of now, like of the past, who needs to figure a solution out for it. Um, so that's a thing about the metaverse and it being pushed out so aggressively right now, is that the science is missing. Without the science, there's nothing we can do. It's all going to be just random guesses or informed guesses, which is false because the science is missing. Um, so
Right.
it's becoming popular VR, but these are the reasons why I feel that it's not there yet.
Well,
Does
I
that
want
make
to
sense?
go back and like actually say there's definitely a problem. We can kind of see a problem with exactly with even internet or even like in real life. Like there's just like sketchy stuff going on, and it doesn't seem like a lot of things are practically anything's being done, you know. And
Yeah, it's
yeah.
go out just get out of your house and you'll find like mistakes all around you.
Yeah, it's like there's like a bunch of fires, and you don't like you see a bunch of fires, but they're not being put out. Like especially in
Yep.
the transportation business, I've seen some sketchy stuff. I saw a white van, a white van, and it was a really sketchy van, and um, so I took a picture, and like the license, it showed the license plate, and it was apparently a stolen license plate, and like I called the police about it. Like that's how I know it was stolen, because I called the police, I ran the license plate, and they said like yeah, that we can't do anything about it because like the vehicle's not pulled over. It's like all this stuff.
It's
Like
gone.
okay, it's like there's like sketchy stuff like that, and like also like sketchy stuff on the internet too. And yeah, it's weird. We're not really like doing a lot about these things.
Yeah. And I said so many things about VR, which is like a future problem, you could say.
Yeah,
There's like issues right now which we can't deal with. So that's why I like, since I'm like a scientist of future technology, I'm kind of worried about why it's being pushed so aggressively.
right.
Um, and you can relax a bit and just do some work and figure it out like a little better. But
I
it is
was right. Go on.
it, but it but it is being pushed very aggressively though. Like for instance, the like those professional meetings in VR you were talking about.
Yeah,
There's actually a whole course in Stanford University, which is in virtual reality. So students have to be in VR to attend class. The professors in VR attend, like teaching the students who individually have virtual avatars. So there are VR classrooms, and it's being implemented in Stanford. There are a lot of medical use cases of virtual reality, which is wonderful. So like one medical use case is PTSD. So like when war veterans come back and they miss war, for instance, and they want to, they still have a lot of adrenaline in their body, um, which is kind of affecting them returning back to the normal world. So VR is used as a tool to make them relive the action scenes of their life, or like feel the war again, so that they calm down in real life. And that's been proven to work several times.
Right. So they were exposed to the trauma in a virtual reality.
It's more, it's less the trauma. It's more
Okay.
just it feels like I'm returning back on the war, like onto the field, for instance.
Okay.
So it gives them a sense of peace after experiencing it, and then they feel good. And what doctors do is they reduce the intensity of the environment,
Yeah.
and um, and they reduce it to an extent where they don't need it anymore, and they essentially return back to the normal world, like they were before the war.
Right.
So yeah, that's just one medical application of virtual reality. There's so many more, and it's amazing. And I mean, I can tell all over the good things, but there are things which aren't good. And this aggressive movement Facebook is pushing, IBM, Microsoft, um, they need to push research more instead of the whole commercialization aspect of it.
Right. So you don't feel like there's enough research at the moment for all these companies to push it. They're just gonna prematurely launch it.
I mean, that's just my opinion, being a researcher.
Gotcha.
But
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, with really with whatever you do, there's going to be polar opposites, right? If you have something that's really great and innovating, there's going to be like the polar opposite. That's there's going to be thieves that are trying to take it, or are trying to take advantage of it. That's just the way it's always been. I think, at least, or feel.
No, that makes sense. That does
Yeah.
make sense. Especially when you're doing something new. There are people who are like overly enthusiastic about it, and the others are a little more conservative. And I'm more of the conservative side.
Right. Like you really want this to be like chilled out and like studied before it actually launches.
Yeah,
and that's what you
100%.
kind of do that right now, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make video games a bit on the side, so I like do a lot of testing in VR. It's just not in VR, but I make like video games on my laptop as well.
Right on.
And occasionally I make a video game in VR and I send it to my friends. And the most common response I get is, after playing for 15 minutes, I feel sick. And that's a VR issue. It's not
Wow.
my video games issue.
Only 15 minutes.
Yeah, they don't use VR a lot, so they're not like acclimated to the environment. But
Yeah.
it's usually a short period of time, and followed by I get sick. So it's like small things like this that annoy me, and I'm like, oh, we need to figure this out before giving it to people. So
Yeah, what's next? People are trying to avoid reality and just go all in on virtual reality. Then you have that. Then you have like a terrible sci-fi movie. Try not to mention any terrible sci-fi movies right now.
Um,
I mean, I know
but we're
we,
almost there. So almost
yeah,
there.
we're almost there. But yeah, I feel like what are you allowed to say like what companies you do the virtual reality studies for?
So I don't work for a company. So our research lab has a few funding sources. So they give us money to do R&D, to do research and
Okay, so it's
develop prototypes.
privately funded right now.
Um, so we have public sources and private sources. You can check it out on our website, but we have funding from NSF, so National Science Foundation. We have some from the Navy. So the Navy is really interested in using these machines to help um, people at war. So for example, if so, I have you watched Iron Man?
Yeah,
Like the movie, and Iron Man has Jarvis. So in his suit, he has like a lot of digital information around him, and
yeah.
Jarvis feeds that information to him. So essentially, the U.S. Navy or the Army or whatever, they
Okay.
are
Yeah,
also
you don't have to mention that part. Or I don't know.
yeah,
Are you allowed to talk about this
yeah,
stuff?
yeah. It's
Oh,
public
okay.
research.
It's public.
It's
Okay.
public. Yeah, it's
Okay.
public research.
Yeah, that's fine.
So they are looking into technologies that could do such similar things.
Okay.
So when it's digital information in real life, that's augmented reality. So that's similar to Pokemon Go. Have you played Pokemon Go
Yeah,
on your
my
mobile
parents
phone?
play that.
Yeah, so Pokemon Go is essentially like there's a Pokemon and your camera's being pointed on the floor
Yeah.
and a Pokemon is like rolling on the floor. So that's like digital information in real life. So the US Navy like really interested in like glasses which can like, give you holograms and then point at things and give you information like Jarvis does.
Yeah. Do they want to play
So
Pokemon Go while they're at it too?
I mean they could. uh, so they're really interested in that stuff, and a part of my lab focuses on that. Sometimes I also help others, but that's something we do. So those are our public funding sources. We have a few private ones. Um, but I don't really focus on the private ones much, so I don't really know about them. Um, but yeah, I mainly focus on like virtual reality, communications, and the Navy work.
Yeah. And what's the website actually? I want to ask what's the website that you
Oh, I
mentioned?
didn't mention this.
Yeah.
So I work at the Synthetic Reality Lab at University of Central Florida. So it's the Surreal Lab, SREAL, Synthetic Reality Lab. So if you search up Surreal Lab UCF, you should get it.
Yeah. And that's where the private or the funding for the companies or from the companies
Yeah,
go. All right.
yeah, and
Okay.
so it's actually really interesting because they usually want us to do research in a very specific application space, which restricts our like what we do a lot. So since we're researchers, we have to be really imaginative with the work we do. Essentially, we're creating new science. So um, so it kind of sucks when they give you like really restrictive clauses in their documents. Like, you have to do augmented reality. You have to do specifically to aid people in war, stuff like that. And it kind of sucks. But they gave us the money, so we have to be happy. So usually those are known as the project details, and the project details are also available in our website. So you can see what the Army specifically wants from us. And our research should be aligned to those details.
That's cool. What's the web? How do you spell the website again?
Surreal, wait, I think it's surreal, SREAL .ucf.edu.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Um, it's a very basic website, but it's got all the information you need.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, dang, I'm all out of questions right now. But it's been very interesting. So like you kind of like, how do you feel overall about virtual reality? I feel like you already told me you're kind of like sketchy about it. Like it's kind of sketchy that it's my people are gonna try to take advantage of it. And but it's gonna like eventually evolve into something.
Okay, I am usually optimist, but I have sounded like a pessimist throughout this meeting. Um,
Okay.
but I love VR and AR. It's literally it's like the coolest thing that's going to be. It's like I used to watch Star Trek and Star Wars when I was younger, and I used to see like holograms and R2D2 doing some crazy shit. And
Yes.
I've always asked myself, am I going to see all this in my lifetime? I want to see this. I want to experience it. I want my life to be with these technologies, and AR and VR is the next step to that fantasy world I dream of, that sci-fi fantasy world where technology, AI, VR, people just doing cool things, and you don't have to take out your phone or stuff like that. The world is your canvas essentially, um, and I love this technology so much. Like I said, there are medical applications. The world of video gaming is going to change. Um, People are going to be.
Okay.
I hope people are going to be more fit because you got to move around with this thing. So
Okay.
you're not like.
Yeah. I just want to ask like a question. Do you think we'll like eventually get to like, yeah, are you familiar, you're familiar with like the Matrix and like, I mean, obviously everybody is,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
you think that relates, we'll get to that part, we'll kind of be like it's in the simulator all the time.
I mean, VR is definitely supporting that end, but hopefully humans will figure out how to deal with it before it comes to it. uh, I mean, that's a different question altogether because the main component to that world is AI, like
Yeah.
machines becoming smart. Um, and I am no expert in AI or machine learning, but from what I do know, it's scary. It is scary because a lot of things in machine learning is there's some input, like for instance, you're trying to understand a picture if there's a person in it. So how a computer does it is the picture is the input, there's like this random black box. So you don't know what the computer is doing, but it spits out an output saying that yes, there is a person. So so the black box is what scares me. We have no idea what a computer is doing. It's not taking any informed decisions, but it's still figuring out the output. So we don't know the means to the end.
Right.
Um,
Fear the black box.
exactly. You're in the Pandora's box. Um, and that's what's scary. That's what scares me about AI. But I hope people are smart enough to figure it out and make sure that it doesn't grow out um, to become like too dangerous. So
Right.
um,
Yeah, some experts think it's not gonna be too dangerous. Actually, I don't really know who said that. I'm not able to cite anybody right now. So,
I
but
mean, it's true. That is reality right now. There
okay.
are scientists trying to figure it out, trying to make sure that it can be used more.
Yeah.
Um,
All
and that's
right.
good.
Yeah,
That's promising.
that's good. Like, so it's got some good things, got some negative things. Well, I want to say it's been good talking to you, and I'm pretty excited about like talking about all this VR stuff. And
Future
I
of
hope you
tech.
have a good day, man. So good talking to you, Zudin.
Take care, man.
Yeah, take care. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Peace.